Hi guys, welcome to WandrinDutch. Today we're going to be doing a teardown, a clean, and begin customizing an Elite Series 2 controller for Xbox. If you find this interesting, well I hope you do. We'll be going through the full process of taking the controller apart, customizing the controller, cleaning it first of course, customizing it, customizing with a paint job as well as parts, and then putting the controller back together again. I hope you find this entertaining, hope you enjoy it and find it interesting, and of course only do this if you don't mind voiding your warranty. Right, let's begin. Hi guys, so let's get into it. First of all, this is a pre-owned Elite Series 2, so my buddy, strangely enough, preferred the Elite Series 1 over the Elite Series 2. Luckily enough for him, I have several Elite Series 1s that are just sitting in the house. So I went to him and essentially, well actually he came to me and said, can I swap you? I was like, well, that's an absolute no-brainer for me. So said, okay, box it up. Let me know if there's anything missing, anything I need to repair on it, if needs be, and I'll box up one of the Elite Series 1s, and we'll get it across. So he's got a customised Assassin's Creed Valhalla Elite Series 1 now, and I have another blank Series 2. So unfortunately, my buddy is a smoker, so there is a lot of kind of just debris from being in a smoking environment. So things like tobacco, dust, and obviously the odour of tobacco, kind of marks and things like that over the controller and inside of the controller, and from kind of rolling tobacco. So that needs to be cleaned out first of all. The controller itself is in good working order. One of the switches for the triggers, the trigger locks at the back, is missing but can be used, but that's easily replaced. But it's not going to be to the detriment of the controller itself, so we'll get to that. All parts are in the case, as you can see here, so you've got all of the different, there you go, just to show you a little few bits of the mark from kind of being in a smoking environment there. All the parts are in the case, however, so all of the different thumbsticks, the D-pads, the joystick tensioners, everything. As you can see, a few of the marks on there, again, just from being in a smoking environment. All of my controllers are kept immaculately clean. No marks on them. If they do get marks, they get wiped clean straight after. For the purpose of this, as you can see there, we're going to do a little turnaround again. But for the purpose of this, I'll be doing a full teardown of the controller. Let's take that out first. So it goes the D-pad. You need to turn these sticks, to take these off by the way, you need to turn these sticks counterclockwise. It is a little bit tough at first. I recommend taking off the sticks, the short sticks, using one of the longer ones, getting a firm two-hand grip on it. Don't twist too hard initially, otherwise you will snap the threads on the inside. Be very careful, you will feel it start to loosen up and then eventually unscrew. There is a few clips to unclip, as you can see here on the bottom of the controller. I'm using 2 clips here just to get a good firm grip of it. As you can see, the kind of grip, the dirt underneath the shell there, just from sweat on the hands and things like that. That'll all be cleaned out and cleaned nicely when you get through to it. But you will see quite a bit of stuff like that coming off these controllers when you do a teardown and a rebuild. They all do need cleaned inside and out to make sure they're hygienic, of course. Not only hygienic, but to ensure that you get a good adherent paint surface, you need to make sure that everything has been cleaned thoroughly, whether that be outside of the shell and inside of the shell. Otherwise you end up with particles all over the shell itself, and when you try to even put a primer section on it, regardless of whether or not you've wiped it down, it will end up bubbling, and that is the last thing you want. These shells are a little bit more difficult than the original Xbox shells to take off. They are fixed down, as you can see on the right hand side there, with an adhesive tape. Relatively straightforward though, so I'll show you there. That's the front plate shell. Again, like I say, markings on there and a bit of scuffing and things from just being in a smoking environment, so put that aside. That's the internals of the Elite Series 2. Again, covered in tobacco. You would think, how does all of that get in there? But it quite easily goes into the buttons, into the D-pad, into the joysticks, and then just creeps its way inside the controller. So you've got 6 positions for screws here, all Torx 6s. One of them has the warranty tape over, the little white warranty tape, so you need to make sure you can undo that. The most time consuming part, and the hardest part when you're doing this for the first time, is just remembering where all the screws go. From each build of a controller you'll probably end up with anywhere between 15 to 25 screws of varying sizes. So the initial batch here are all one size, then you have, when we get further into it, several more of another smaller size, and then on the Elite Series 2s with the battery housing, etc., you have another variant, which is smaller again. I think it's a Torx 4 size. This guy was a little bit tough. Starting to get it now though. There we go. And last but not least, again, just loosening the joysticks there. I'm going to show you the up close. So unlike the other ones, these are threaded, of course, because you have the tensioners in them. So only Elite Series 2 joysticks will work on the Elite Series 2. You can't use the Elite Series 1, as again they are not the same due to the tensioners on the inside, the added feature of the tensioners for the sticks. It's entirely different. So let's pry this out. There we go. So there's the internals of the Elite Series 2. So you can see the tobacco and things like that all over it. There's the polar bear emblem on the inside of the Elite Series 2, and the back circuit boards, the dual shocks on either side, as well as the haptic feedback triggers in the or haptic feedback shocks in the triggers, should I say. Underneath there you can see the button mapping for the underside triggers. That's the 2 circuit boards on either side there. You can also see the built-in battery compartment. I'm going to brush it all down now. First of all, as you can get rid of all the tobacco, etc. from either one. So we'll do this shell first. So let's get rid of as much as possible. Just quickly skimming over it. Again, we're going to be doing much more of a clean down after this. We'll get this unclipped first. It might be easier. Be a lot easier if I had any nails, but I don't. So it's hard to get underneath this little metal section here. But there we go. That's come off now. There we go. That's just to ensure that that's secured in. Let's take the D-pad out of the way. Again, covered in tobacco. Give it a nice brush down, get as much of the grime and dirt out of it as possible. Again, this is just a fine brush, just to get as much of the debris off there as possible. The buttons will be getting changed out on this build, so I'm not worried about getting them too clean at the moment. This is just to get a lot of the excess debris off the controller initially. Just getting sure there's nothing on the circuit boards. A little bit of grime on there. I'll just get that off with my finger. There we go. That's just a little bit of sweat. Built up sweat and grime. And that's the circuit board. Initially wiped down. Again, I'll be doing that again when I take that apart further, which will be on the next video. We'll get a little bit more in depth onto the actual size of it. We'll give this a little brush down here quickly first. Again, thankfully this is just a little shell, so there's not much to wipe off the front. But on the inside, as you can see, again full of tobacco. And again on the inside of that one you can see full of tobacco. Let's give that a just tap out on here, see how much comes out. Yeah, quite a bit. As you can see, it's built up near the trigger housing as well. All that dusting and debris from tobacco or making cigarettes and things like that. So let's brush all that out. It doesn't have to be perfect initially because, like I say, this is just the first once over just to get the excess out of it. I'll be doing a proper clean of them before we put everything back together, making sure everything is completely spotless, nothing on it. Like I mentioned there, you probably see where the trigger stops a little bit off. Now we'll go down into just using a little, not even just a little household scouring brush, a little warm water, and not even a little bit of soap in this occasion, just a little bit of warm water to get some of the scuff marks off. We'll take out the accent rings, which are easily clipped out. Very nice. Scrub down. Again, this does not damage the controller or any of the parts. Just getting a lot of the dirt, the grime, the sweat and things just off nice and easily. Another quick wipe down. So get a little bit of dry towel here, and we'll give it a little dry off. Make sure there's nothing on it. There we go. And you'll see the difference on this one immediately. It's not too hard. It will look like a brand new shell again. All that from a little sponge, a little bit of warm water. Obviously we'll end up with a little bit of debris, a little bit of dust, dusty debris from the cloth. But other than that, there we go, pretty much brand new. It'll look much better than it was before. Do the same for the underside, the bottom grips. They weren't near as bad as the top grips, so this just need a quick once over. Again, you don't want the sponge soaking wet, you just want it just enough to get a good little scrub on it. And again, drying it down. This is all part of the preparation as well. Before you paint anything, everything needs to be clean. If there's any dust particles, if there's anything on it, any grime, any dirt, the paint will not adhere to the shell itself. So this has to be completed. You can see both of them there, there's trigger stops there, nice and clean again. And you're left with the parts. So there's the actual controller itself, the lower section, the top section, the charging dock and cable, accent rings, D-pad and housing, your sticks, all of the different tops for your sticks there, and your D-pad and adjustment tool. Nice and easy. That's the basic parts. So the next sections that you'll see in the next video will be taken out are all of them. So the shoulder buttons, center buttons, A, B, X and Y, the function button, the back and start button, the two triggers, and we'll take out the screws here. There are 7 screws in total, all Torx 5 in size, 2 on the green section and 5 on the blue section. You'll then need to remove, and this is the tough part, you probably will need a little bit of glue to keep those back in again once you've taken them off. But they're the little bit of plastic where the LED lights come through for both the mode select and the charging light. And on the back you have screws for your function buttons, for the triggers at the back, and also for the trigger locks, and then for the charging dock. See, there's the damaged trigger lock there. These are just some of the selection of parts that I could use in this build. So you've got all of the different Joy-Cons, you have the shoulder buttons, you've got A, B, X, Y buttons in varying colours, accent rings in varying colours, again more buttons in varying colours again. The list is endless for choices for me, and this is what I love about creating new controllers, because everything can be done. Any kind of design or wild patterns I can think of can be done. I have another box here. There we go. even more selection. And this is where we wrap it up. So this is the shell all taped up and ready to go. So join me next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for part 2. Thanks for joining me.